Hello, my name is Gavin Jeter with Abley, and today I'm joined by our Chief Executive, Steve Abley. Steve's recently been to the TRB conference in the United States, and I'm just here to chat with him about it. So Steve, what is the TRB conference and why did we attend?
Transportation Research Board, or TRB, it's part of the National Academies of Science, Engineering and Medicine. It's an organisation that's been around for a really long time. They do some great research, high calibre research, well renowned. We attended the second international conference on roadway departures for peer exchange, which was held in Orlando, Florida. We attended that because we think we've got a valuable contribution to give in terms of that subject area. But at the same time, I was particularly interested to see just evolving trends, themes, trying to increase a network as well of connectivity just at an international level. So it was really valuable for all those things. So we made the commitment to go. I think we got really good value out of it.
That's awesome. So what type of insightful presentations did you see?
There was a really big thrust towards a systemic analysis as being different to systematic analysis, and a really big drive towards the safe system approach. That was really good because that's really where Abley does a lot of its work, proactive risk, not relying on crash data, using crash data, but usually as a validation technique rather than actually as an input technique.
Yeah. And so were there any other solutions or products that you were trying to get across to other people on the other side of the planet?
Yeah, Abley's reputation in this area in terms of proactive risk was actually leading. I was surprised at how many people had actually been or knew of our work or our research, some of our publications, so that was really encouraging. I was keen to also share the Safe Curves product that Abley has. Safe Curves is a proactive systemic risk tool. It identifies out of context curves, prioritises those curves over a wide jurisdictional area, and then provides an intervention via MUTCD, that's the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, for a whole area, providing horizontal curve positioning, type, and speed advisory plaque information.
Nice. And so was there anything else surprising, or are they unexpected at the conference?
I suppose there was really great learnings, first and foremost, in lots of different areas. That was really good. One of the surprising things I suppose I observed was that although the theme of the conference was around safe system approach and proactive risk analysis, there was still a lot of reliance on crash data. And so, crash data is really valuable. It's important from a technical perspective, but I suppose, the stats cloud tragedies. So every stat is a tragedy by itself. We want to be proactive and try and get ahead of the curve. So that's really why we're interested in that systemic analysis. So I was still surprised with how much reliance there was on crash analysis rather than proactive systemic approaches.
Yeah, and so when you speak of systemic, is there a nationwide approach? Is there an international approach? And we're from New Zealand, I guess, so I'm just curious, how was New Zealand perceived and some of the things that we're doing on that systemic network-wide level? How did that come across over there?
Really well received from the work that's been undertaken in Australia and New Zealand. The US has a significant road safety issue. They're looking to drive down their crash statistics and that road trauma. The US is looking internationally to lots of different jurisdictions around how they can achieve that outcome. Australia and New Zealand are one part of the world that has some really good proactive tools for how to do that. They've been well deployed in Australasia for many, many years. It's pretty simple, really, to pick up this common research base and apply it in different jurisdictions. We're getting good traction from our perspective in terms of the conversations that we're having. We've got many jurisdictions that want that proactive risk approach applied at a very large scale network level, where they can really start to make an impactful difference on roads, especially those that are associated with roadway departures, which are typically rural, two-way, undivided roads, which means that they do inherently have higher risk. If a crash was to happen, the more remote from hospital first responder care, we need to make sure that we improve or reduce the risk, really, of crashes happening. And if a crash was to happen, then what can we do about reducing the consequence of that crash?
Yeah. And so how was Abley perceived then, coming all the way from New Zealand?
Yeah, I think really well. It was a little bit nervy from my perspective. You know, we're turning up from New Zealand, which is a long, long way from the US, as I was often reminded. But in fact, our technical work was well respected. It had already been seen, or it was known about. I suppose that kind of loops back to this desire for the US to actually do more in the safe system approach in systemic proactive risk area.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so where else will you be headed?
I've got quite a busy travel schedule ahead of me. In a couple of weeks, I'll be off to ITE, which is the Institution of Transportation Engineers. I'll be in Philadelphia for that, and then shortly after that, I'll be in San Diego for the Traffic Records Forum. It's a pretty active time, but we're pretty keen to share how we can drive down roadway deaths and improve travel on roads.
Oh, that's great. And so a very important question. Have you ever had a Philadelphia cheesesteak?
Gav, I've never had a Philadelphia cheesesteak. I haven't been to Philadelphia before. I'm really looking forward to the experience. I'll have to put that on my list.
That's great. Well, thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Steve, for giving us the insight on TRB and where you're headed over the next couple months.
Thanks, Gav.